Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Justin, and this is a 3-minute message. In Matthew chapter 4, there's this story of Jesus being tempted by the devil. And it's a pretty interesting story. He gets tempted 3 times. The very first time he gets tempted, he happens to be really hungry. He's been fasting, going without food for a long time. And the devil in the story comes up to him and says, obviously you're hungry. If you're the Son of God, if you really are who you say you are, tell these stones to become loaves of bread and eat. And Jesus says no, and then he gets tempted 2 more times, and he says no each time and passes the test. Later on, in Matthew chapter 7, Jesus says something really interesting. He's talking about God and how good God is, and how God desires to bless us as his children. And he says, which of you parents, if your child asked for a loaf of bread, would give them a stone instead? I'd read that so many different times and I never connected the dots between that statement of Jesus and Jesus' temptation. Because when I look back on that temptation of Jesus, I always thought that Satan offered Jesus a loaf of bread. You think about it, like Jesus is hungry, Satan shows up, he tempts him. What does he tempt him with? He tempts him with bread, right? And no, he doesn't. He actually tempts him with a stone. He offers him a rock. He says, hey, if you're the Son of God, tell this stone to become a loaf of bread. But Satan never actually offers Jesus bread. And Jesus had the wisdom to see it. He recognized that in this moment of hunger, in this moment of need, he was not being tempted with something that would actually fill his need. He was being offered a rock, and the reality is you can't eat rocks, or at least you shouldn't. As Jesus followers, we have to rely on the Holy Spirit and ask God to give us discernment, to help us recognize temptations for what they are. Satan's really clever. He's clever with Jesus. He sneaks in that stone, and it almost makes you think it's bread, but it's not. If you're being tempted with anything, know that it's not what you need. It's not bread, it's a rock. God the Father loves you, and he would never offer you something that isn't good. He would never offer you something that wouldn't actually meet the needs that you have. So ask God, ask the Holy Spirit to help you see the rocks for what they are. Thanks for listening. This has been a 3-minute message.